basis, and then working closely with Rob and Renee this year in forming the Maple Business Council. And it really is a reflection of our passion of being Canadians living in California over the long term. So in terms of growing Maple, currently, as Rob said, we have 12 organizations that are part of our community, reflecting service providers. We have an interesting agency in Carlsbad that focuses on helping US companies do their media buying in Canada. That's MediaCorp. Heard Phil from Edwards Global Services talk about his expertise. Recently, the County of Riverside joined Maple, their economic development group, and they've done a lot of great leadership work in trying to connect their county with Canadian businesses and attracting investment in their region. Recently, we have an individual member, Mr. Jeffrey Goldstein from RBC Beverly Hills, join us, which we're excited about. And we continue to grow, and it's really a reflection of the outreach that we do in meetings such as this. We have been active in the whole region. As Rob said, we are focused from LA down to San Diego. We've joined some business organizations in the LA market, including BizFed, which is a kind of meta alliance of chambers of commerce and business federations. We had the pleasure of hosting the Canadian Consul General James Villeneuve, who is in LA, when he presented to the West LA Chamber of Commerce and joined that group. Rob was on a panel discussion at LAVA, the LA Venture Association, in October, talking about going global and going into Canada. And we've continued to really kind of put our fingers into the communities and want to do so here in San Diego in that same respect. Our focus at Maple is truly bilateral, and so as you saw on the mind map, one of the things that we are focused on is continuing to work cross-border, and a trade mission where we can go introduce the Maple organization to businesses, government officials, entrepreneurs in Canada as part of that formula. So a couple of weeks ago, Rob and I traveled to Ontario, and we had just a terrific week of meetings, meeting with respective members. We have some current members based in Ontario as well, with a specific focus on the startup communities that exist in Toronto, Waterloo, and London, Ontario, and really looking to understand how we can build greater bridges between our two regions. As you probably know, this is the southwestern part of Ontario, located between really Buffalo and Detroit. Waterloo, which you see just north of Kitchener there, is really a hotbed for innovation, fueled by just a tremendous university program, University of Waterloo. We met with leaders in the startup communities, as well as enterprises in banking, supply chain, human resource management, a variety of industries, as well as sitting down with the Ministry of Economic Development. And as Rob said, Ontario has been very successful in attracting foreign direct investment. And we were talking about the opportunities for greater collaboration, as we do with the Canadian Consulate Group here. And had the opportunity to talk about Southern California to a number of digital media companies in the Toronto area as part of a discussion on Southern California. And what we hear from a lot of the businesses in Ontario is that as they think about California, they think about Silicon Valley first, and there is some stress related to that, you know, as a white-hot market. Are they ready for that type of scrutiny, that type of effort to get into a new area and attracting capital? And there's also curiosity about Southern California and a hunger for more information about what's happening in Silicon Beach and Santa Monica, what's happening here in San Diego, in Orange County. And so we feel there's a real need to just tell the Southern California, San Diego story more in Canada, as we're sharing Canada with people here too. Some of the takeaways that we had from our meetings with investors, as well as startup hubs, accelerators, is that there is a remarkable innovation ecosystem at work in Ontario, and particularly Toronto, Waterloo, that really has a very strong sense of collaboration between entrepreneurs, investors, academia, and the government. And the government role is much more participative and welcomed in that region, and is being very successful in helping to grow startups and help scale them in that region. And there's a real sense of welcome for businesses to enter this market. And as I mentioned, when we talk about Southern California, there is a strong interest, but not a lot of knowledge about what's happening here in San Diego and up the coast. So the opportunities to create more cross-border successes we think are ripe, but it requires meetings like this and connecting people with information and people that can bring their expertise to bear. So with that in mind and our bilateral focus, we are going to continue to do quarterly missions to Canada. We want to go back to the Toronto, Southwestern Ontario region in the first quarter. And as Rob said, we also identified key markets in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and Montreal for next year as well. We want to bring those members and those opportunities back to this region so that we can all leverage that information together. Part of our work too is to be not only cross-sector but also cross-stage. And so one of the areas that we think that we can play a role in is in helping to build bridges between the startup communities in these two regions. And we have a working title for an initiative focused on this area called Maple Keys. And as Rob mentioned, we have we just lost our connection here. We have an individual that's based in Santa Monica, Ms. Tatiana Kaufman, who is well entrenched in the Silicon Beach market area, and she's going to be helping to connect us with investors and startups in that region. And that's an area of expertise that she brings to Maple, so we're excited about that as part of the evolution and growth of our community. And Tatiana is actually a Canadian from Ontario, MBA, JD, and has been working in the BC community in Santa Monica for several years. Okay, I'll work off of this one over here. Yeah. Apologize for the AV problems here. Just a few comments to wrap up on joining Maple. So we want to be a networking home for you. We have these quarterly